Recording, and here we go. Good morning, everybody.
Good
It
morning.
is Tuesday, November 10th, and welcome to the Hawkeye trading session. Trading the foreign exchange on margin can carry a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. The high degree of leverage can work against you as well as for you. Before deciding to invest in foreign exchange, you should carefully consider your investment objective, level of experience, and risk appetite. The possibility exists that you could sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment, and therefore you should not invest money that you cannot afford to lose. You should be aware of all the risks associated with the foreign exchange trading and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any doubts. This is a live trading room. It is for educational purposes only. No financial advice or recommendations will be provided. Any trade taken during this session is not a recommendation or a suggestion that you should also do the same. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Do not trade money you cannot afford to lose. Before trading live, always operate with a written trade plan that identifies the rules for entries, exits, targets, and risk management. And with that, we will go to the charts. And I've got a chart on the US yen. We had an alert at 7 o'clock, which is right here, the yellow line. And I drew it, I do a couple of different things with this. I drew the high, yesterday's high, the overnight low. I drew the box over that region, that range. And then I took it, it was an ascending wedge. So I started with the bottom, found a pivot high at the top. I just used the, where the day's high was at the time. Well, actually, look, for that mark, did a sloping up, and then I have so it's an ascending. So we've got this triangle from this direction. And you can see where we had a strong move down just before the wedge, and we have this little area right in here. But you can see that this area is right smack dab in the middle of this whole bigger range. So right now, we don't know which way this thing's going to go. So I'm going to stay out of this thing pretty much until there's a little bit more conclusive. One thing about it is that we have a supply zone. This is a higher time supply zone, which I found over here. Looking at the 3-hour chart, I came all the way over here after the top of my box. Came over here, I found this little wick above this little red candle. This is where this move started. So this is probably where it's going to be coming up and be retested, this zone. As you can see, it came all the way down, and strong move up. Looks like that was over last night. Strong move up came up to this area where the D is, and we're having a little bit of starting to challenge this whole area right where we are right now. So I'm kind of thinking it may come up and retest the D. It may even go up a little higher into the supply zone, but I'm going to stay out of it because there's more room to the downside than I believe there is to the upside. If it breaks this area, the next area we're looking at is this area over here, and I'll mark that one because it is possible this area will break. But I'm going to come over here to this area right in here, which have been even quite a bit before. That's back over in the beginning of October. So this is what we're looking at right here. We have a level on the level. If it breaks the first one, it's probably going to fall off and somewhere in between, maybe penetrate up into the second one. But right now there is pressure to the downside on the 15-minute, on this 3-hour chart. There's actually more pressure, pressure to the upside. US dollar is the first currency of the pair. There is more pressure on the higher time frames to the upside. If we go to back to our 15-minute chart, we'll see what kind of RCS tool tells us here. And we may be looking at this as a retracement to the D coming up, but I'm just going to stay out of this because it's right now there's too much conflict and not enough confirmation to. I want to see it. I'd be more apt to see it break out of that other secondary wedge that we had. Still showing strength to the upside on the 15-minute. We're actually now starting to break here. There is room to the top of the wedge after this break right on this area right now. And this could be a good entry to possibly get in. There is room to get our 7 pips out of the top. There's about 39 pips to the top of this area. So we may want to take a peek at this one. Right now I'm seeing a lot of strength to the upside. I may wait for this. We have this little pullback going on right now. If it comes back, pulls back into this zone, it may be worth taking a swing at the bat. You do have, like I say, you do have room to the upside. where the D is, up to the top of the wedge. That's a pretty strong move that we just saw there. There is 19 pips to the top of the wedge. Get my broker set up. I'm looking for a buy stop or a buy stop. Looking at about 105.33. What do you think, Matt? What do you think about this one?
Taking a peek. I'm doing some analysis on it. I like it. I like it to the upside.
Yeah, I'm liking it to the upside. There's the break right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm
You know
looking at
what?
the target. The target's going to be pretty much up. There's our this 14 pip target to the top of the wedge that we drew, and we have the stop at the other side on the other side of this underside of this smaller intermediate wedge that we have. We have anchor. Here's a hit. It did break this flat top we had on this one. And I will keep my stop here by the C. If it comes back into below the wedge, this could be end up being a head fake and then maybe take it to the short side. If it does break this wedge to the downside, this is the range that we're looking at pretty much from this for our stick. Let's see here. And I'm going to take this I'll go from the A top of the wedge to the A, moving on up to where we broke the wedge and see if this thing will, and it should be enough room to the top of the wedge. So that means this could be the testing point. It may end up a little short. If this is where the D is, I'm going to put a horizontal line off of that.
Let's see what's going to happen here.
It does have a lot of room to the upside. It did come out of an extreme. There was an extreme down here where I pretty much where we had the alert and where we
yeah,
have
you
the
see your
A.
RSIs, eh?
That was a bit of an extreme down here. We could see where the RSIs were down here, came down, came up. This was still somewhat of a wedge in this area from the A to the, let's see, where's my D here? This is concerning that this is starting to get a higher high as this thing starts to trend. Actually move the B over to this area, move the D up here, and see if this channel starts to hold right like this. Here was the original wedge. It came back down, went down lower, broke to the bottom here where the wedge came in. This could have been the head fake. If you got into this thing earlier, right where we had the alert and took this break, you may have been looking to go, that would have been your head fake right in here. It would have broken the bottom of where before the alert was, head fake, come back in, came up into the wedge. And now I think this thing's starting to go higher. And actually this, maybe we can readjust this a little bit here. This is the channel. I like this a little bit better. Plus, I also like if this thing breaks to the top, now you've got this trend line right here as your support line.
Yeah.
Here was the break. Here's the basing right now. Here's a rally basing. Could very well get another rally going up to the top up here. So you have this nice little area right here. This is only 1 minute, so you have to be careful with that. But it's nice little area wedge. It just broke through the top of the channel, so there is some strength to the top side. Our dollar is still strong by 2. Even on this pullback, it's still showing strength on the dollar. I like this little wedge right up in here. I like that little bit right there, right as it broke.
Yeah, I do too. I like little wedges too. If you're on the 1 minute time frame, it just adds a little bit more confirmation.
This is start seeing where these little.
So we're gonna have a little bit more of a pullback, right? We're gonna get a little bit more of a pullback because it needs to breathe a bit. Like you say, it needs to go get his buddies.
Yeah. Now I'm going to be looking. Right now, I'm looking at these moving averages: the 5 and the 13. If that 5 can keep on this pullback, if this the green one can keep from crossing and closing below the yellow, and still stay above the 62, we're still good for a long on this one.
Mm-hmm.
If we get the crossover, you may want to just cut your losses short and wait for it to come back around the other direction.
So let's see.
Right now, it still came back, picked up some of its buddies. We got a green candle going on here.
That's a big rejection wick.
Yep, off the bottom.
Oh, well, that's not a rejection after all.
This is a nice little move right up here. If we do a Fibonacci retracement, if this thing breaks to the top side, we could be looking at a target of up to here, come back down to wherever it stops, and it comes back up for a target.
You do 1-1, so
up in this area.
105, 406.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be
probably
a good target.
Right here. Probably this. That'd be somewhat confirmation that this is going to hold here.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. The probabilities are good. The question is, not all probabilities work out. I'll take a swing at this one.
Yep, I am too. You see how it failed to break the bottom there with the moving average?
Right.
Yeah.
I'd like to see this thing start hooking back up again. I'd like to see this thing come down and start to hook. The RSI starting to hook. Here's a low. Here's a higher low. Here's a higher low. We'll see if this thing can hold it down below here.
Okay. So the looks like my broker figured out what it was doing.
The moving averages are looking good right now.
Absolutely. I like that.
You see how
the RSI hooked back kind of mid-channel towards the upside, so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah. Another thing I like, here's a strong candle. The strong blue candle came up. This one came right down to where the start of this blue candle was. It couldn't close below the base of this blue candle.
You're getting a gap between your moving averages and your 62 as well.
Yeah.
And it's getting bigger. So it's another little confirmation, right? We're just trying to stack the odds. Nothing's 100% and definitely could be wrong.
Now, the fact that this thing went back into the wedge, I'm going to put this thing on up here where and we could be more conservative, just say, okay, this is still the first break.
Right. Because that's a pretty strong trend line, right?
Yeah. Also, we're right here at our blue fib line. Right here is where this is all bouncing off. So passed it, checked it, came back, passed it, checked it, passed it. So right now there's a lot of activity going right into this area. So
Al, now at this point, would you consider this our mid-range, or no, it's too small be considered? Because we're only on the 1 minute.
It's mid-range of the bigger box that we had drawn here of the.
Oh, I must have missed that when I was trying to get in.
Yeah, we're right in the middle of this. We're right in the middle of the whole trading range of this plane. Right now, it's right in the middle. Okay. We're looking for a breakout to the top to retest the top or to retest the bottom.
Sure.
And the top and bottom are pretty much confined by where the dotted orange lines, which is basically this was the original wedge which we drew back here with the 15-minute chart.
Oh, okay.
This was the break of the new day. This was an overnight low. This was the retest of the overnight of the open of the day, and the D area broke, so we have a little bit of a ascending slope. But this is the bug. This was yesterday's high. Here's the overnight low, and the wedge you can see is pretty much right. It's trying to challenge the outer side of this whole area.
Mm-hmm. As long as it doesn't break 105.26 or something like that, should be.
Yeah, as long as it stays above this pivot right here. As long as it stays above this pivot, 105.27 of that area. Mm-hmm. So the area we're still looking at it too. I mean, this was a nice little pull. It's a fairly strong pullback. But if this is the new area, I mean, we're still showing strength to the dollar. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, you see how the 513 didn't cross; it just rejected.
Yeah, right here, even there. Yeah. This on the 15.
Yeah, on the 15 it rejected.
And the other thing, though, to be considered is the range of this box area. Let me reverse this here. This is the range of where the box. This is from yesterday's high to overnight low. This is the range, and I'd like to see this thing at least still come up into this upper 25%, which is pretty much right where the top of your wedge is. Right now, it's still in the middle of this whole area, so we're kind of rolling the dice a little bit on this one. But it does have the strength to the upside, and it is moving up in that direction. We did get the D. Now we could get a rejection off this area for it to come back down because we are getting so close to our higher time frame supply zone. So I'd say go for your 7 pips on this one. Maybe 12. I wouldn't push it. I wouldn't push it if it gets back up into this area.
Yeah, stay away from the top. You know, you got lots of potential there. So what would be your target on that for 7 pips?
Well, again, my target is still within. Oh, the 7 pip target is going to be probably pretty much right about where my target zone is. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7
yeah,
pips.
Okay.
Just on the other side of this.
So 105.41.
Yeah, 105.41. Or look at a fib line, see if there's a fib line up around there someplace. 105.39. You're probably going to you may get a little bit of a bounce. You got the fib line right in the middle of that target space.
All right, we're in the green here. Look at that thing go, eh?
Now we're doing a pass and check on the green. If we can get out of this green area, it's going to come up here, and this is the new supply zone. You can see the blue line, your red line. This is your supply zone. We also have we have the top of the wedge up here. So I mean, there's a good chance it's going to retest that area that we were looking at over here. Let me see if I can push this a little bit closer.
Okay, I need to run into the car for a little bit, but I will.
All right, Matt.
I'll return in a little bit.
Let us know when you get back.
I will. But this looks like a good trade, guys. I'm pretty happy about it.
Let's slide this over here.
Actually, I'm going to sit here for a couple more minutes. I don't want to exit a trade while we're... This looks like it might go. I've got a pitchfork line sitting at your target zone, and I didn't even set up my targets based on what you did. 105.40.
I see an area to challenge of probably about 105.46.
Yeah, I'll be out of it by then.
I'm just going to move this thing up to 105.46 for that reference. a little bit higher there, which is still looking at the range of this wedge that we've got. Let's be a little bit more conservative. Let's just sort of back it off to the, and just put this right at the top of where that wedge was.
You know what? I'll just exit here. I'm fine with that for now. Anyway, I'll be back in a little bit.
Okay. All right, Matt.
All right. Bye.
Still showing lots of strength. And we wait. Keep your hands in your pockets and hands on the trigger to get out if you don't have your target set. We're getting a little bit of a hook up here. This is up to the 89. They are getting a little bit of a hook. So it is getting a little bit of a testing this area right in here. And that's right here at this fib line. We did get a pass. Coming back is checking this, probably check the top of the wedge. We did get a breakout here. So this is actually starting to get a little bit more strength to the upside. If I move this up to here and move this over to this area, this is sort of the new range that's working with. I'll move my stop up a little bit. Protect some. That puts me into a 5 pip stop loss. You see where these trend lines sort of shift gears a little bit right on this little area. Here's our higher time. Here's our trend line that we've got. Here's our bottom of the wedge that we drew, the original wedge. Keep an eye on the trigger here. The higher time frame. So here's the anchor. Here's a hit. Here's a hit. And then it sort of changed. Then the angle sort of changed a little bit right now. So we've got this is probably the last little push to the upside. We'll go from this one to this one now. You can see where the angle's changed. And we wait. And I'd okay to pull my stop on up to the bottom of where this wick was here. That keeps protecting a little few more pips at a time. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, well, I was looking to see like it was muted, but maybe that was Matt. That was.
No crickets.
I wasn't sure if I wasn't.
We're
I
all
just
sitting
looked
on
up
our
there. I
hands.
saw it says unmute myself. I was just wondering, have I been talking to myself all this time here?
No.
Just a quiet runs this morning.
Let's see how far we got. So right now from Here to here, there's 4 pips. 7 pips is going to be right at about the 105.41 area, where the 7 pips is. You know, just because you're going for 7 pips doesn't mean that's all you have. That's what you have to. You can always get out early if it starts to looking like it's going against you. Right now, as long as these moving averages stay in the right order, we're good. Let's see how it's looking. Dollar is still showing strength on the 1 minute, showing strength. We got a nice 3-point spread on the 5. We got 3-point spread on the 15. All the moving averages seem to be in the right order. We have the green, yellow, orange. We have green, yellow, purple, and we have green, yellow, white. So all the moving averages are moving in the right direction. One thing we want to do is see where our 30-minute moving average is and see if that's going to give us any clue to where this thing. Oftentimes you're going to see that it heads towards the 30-minute, which is the yellow or the blue moving average line. Let's see if I even have that set in here. Yep, we do. Let's see, where is it? Where is it hiding? Trying to find. Oh, here it is, all the way down below. So it's already. It still has that pressure too. So it's not like we're having a target up there for it. All of our holes, all 3 holes are green on the 1 minute, all green on the 5 minute, and the whole moving average is green just turned green over here on the 15. So that's all looking like it's in a good spot. Look at the 5 minute chart and just see how it looks on that. So everything's still looking good on there. There's a little bit of a doji right here on this 5 minute. This little red candle right here is closed. It's a doji. So there could be a little bit of a challenge right in this area. We have this strong move down. Here's a little wick over wick area that we're probably needing to have to get through this area right in here. I'll mark that. Once it can get through that, we should be helpful. We're getting a little bit of a rejection off of that area. Let's go back to 1 minute. It's usually a little bit cleaner to see. So right now, this is the primary trend line. We have an anchor. Here's a hit. Here's another. Here's a retest of this area. I'm just going to move this out of the way since this isn't really in play anymore. And we have a little bit. Then we'll do a upper channel mark. This is basically just a parallel. As it's working our way up to this top of where the original wedge was. And nothing goes in a straight line normally. And then here's an anchor, here's a hit, here's a hit. So there is getting some rejection off the top. But that was after it already broke through a couple different areas. Came back down. So far, it hasn't hit the wedge yet, or the trend line, which means it still has some steam. And I'm going to set this for 7 pips for a target and see if we can take my target. Came right on up to this red trend, this red fib line. I don't want to give up my profits. I'm going to move my stop. I'm going to secure at least some of my profits here so we don't turn a winning trade into a losing trade. Right now the moving average came down here. It was testing this yellow. Remember, see how it came down hooked, didn't close below the yellow. Now it's starting to widen out again here. Remember saying earlier this week, we were talking about the, there you go, this nice little push back up. As this area widens out, we had a little bit of a narrowing right in this area. And it's hard to draw it. There's a pretty strong rejection off of that point. See how this candle closes.
Al, you think it's, I'm sorry.
If we get a close, if this, we get a close below this yellow moving average, you may want to start just tighten up your stop a little bit so you know, so don't let this thing take you into a losing trade here. Give it enough room so you don't get stopped out right on this pullback, but just try and monitor it a little bit so that if we start getting this cross of this moving averages, you may want to exit your trade and then just wait for the next chance to get back in again. Right now it's testing this trend line right here. We'll see if it can hold it. What was your question, Christine?
No, I was just going to mention that, like the moving averages, they compress, but they didn't cross over. So,
Correct.
so it doesn't give you like a fake out to get out.
Exactly. And you'll get these little pullback. And if this thing crosses over, it'll cross over, it may pull back a little. If it crosses over, you're probably going to get a retest of this area down here. So you may as well conserve some of your profits, wait for it to come back, and maybe get back in again when it comes down low. But you want to keep yourself out of harm's way on these pullbacks like that. That was a pretty strong little rejection of that area.
We have that supply, we have the fib supply up there.
Right. You got this red line. This is basically, this area up here between this red line and the blue line, which is right here. This is pretty much a demand zone or a supply zone. Right. It's checking it, but it can't quite cross. It can't quite cross over that.
Yeah.
And the moving averages are still in order. And we have about 1 pip difference between the green and the yellow one, so we're still good there. Still hasn't crossed over. This is just a pullback. Now we are getting a little bit of strength on this. This is flipping back and forth on the 1 minute. Your RCS, it's still showing still showing dollar strength. Although it is starting to come back, it is starting to show a little bit of extreme right now, but it still has some room to the upside still. You see our moving averages are trending. We'd like to see this blue RSI get above the 8-period RSI and retest the 89 again. And we do have a little bit of a trend on the bottom. It's a little bit higher. Let's see if this can hold. Still do not have the cross of the 5 and the 13, bouncing off the trend line.
Wow.
And we are getting the cross. If this thing closes below, wait for the region. I just got stopped out. So I got stopped out with a little bit of a profit. This is a real strong rejection off of that.
It's huge.
We'll see if this holds. So I have this little area right in between here. $62 is still holding. I don't like the fact that this thing crossed. So you want to protect your profits if you could, and wait for this thing to bounce off of here or retest this trend line. I'd like to see a bounce off of this to confirm this bottom trend line. And I still think this is just a strong pullback. They're still showing some dollar strength on the other side. Right here, I believe it's just searching for stops. You had a nice little move up. People got in. had their stops down below here. They take their stops, bring it down to the next bottom trend line. Now this is a drop. This is a basing area, so this thing could still come down and retest. Remember, we still have this area right here. Remember, we were talking that this was in the big box that we were talking about earlier, where we had this is the upper 25%. This is the middle 50%, and here's the bottom 25%. It still didn't get up to the upper 25% yet.
You want me to go check that out?
Oh, there's a new alert?
Yes, there is.
Yeah, what is it? What do we got?
A moment.
Let's see, looks like Euro US ascending 8:45.
Faster than I was, though.
That's right, we're coming up on the 9 o'clock hour. Euro USD. We'll keep an eye on this one. I still have, I'm still not convinced it's not going to come up and retest the D. I mean, it's have a little bit of a, right now it's testing the bottom trend line here. Now, this is the main one that we're looking at still. We have this one still coming up. This was a test. So we're sort of changed directions. And let's take a look at the Euro USD while we're sitting here. Right now we're in a range here. I'm going to set an alert on, let's see, I'm going to set an alert right up here where this red rejection was. So I know what to be looking for. Add an alert. Crossing, create. And let's so take a look at the Euro. Let's see, I'll put this one over here so I can know where I'm. I mean, that one's in play. Looking at the Euro US. $8.45, and it was a ascending. Clear my screen. Ascending, which means we have, this was the, let's see, this was our overnight high. This is our daily range right now in here. Let's see, range box. And it was ascending, so I'm going to go from low to high. I'm looking at this little candle right in here before the alert. Let's see where other targets are. Ooh, big move down in the last couple of days. And if it breaks the bottom of this box, let's see where we're at for our target. Big candle down. Here was a wick over wick. It broke that. So this is the next area, wick over wick on the 1 hour chart. We'll mark this zone for a target. Make this our demand zone. Go back to our 15-minute chart and see what we can find here. If it breaks the bottom here, it's going to probably run into some traffic down in this area, but there may be enough room to get a trade out of this thing. See where our strength is. Right now it's showing strength on the dollar strength to the euro. Dollar second currency of the pair, looking for strength to the downside. I'm going to flat top this. We do have a little trend. There was a strong move up, pull back, What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a trend line along the tops of those wicks on the pullback where the alert was, but I'm going to flat top the bottom here. If it breaks through the C area, see how much room we have on this from here to here. That's looks like 14 pips to the A. So if it breaks the C area, we have 14 pips to the A. That would be enough for a target to get your 7 pips out of it. If it breaks to the upside, we probably have 14 pips to get to where our 30-minute and our 15-minute is. Right now I'm looking at this thing possibly, I don't know which way it's going to break. I'm not even going to project. But right now the moving averages are showing a short. The green coming down, came up, testing this. We got a little bit of a crossover on the green area of the yellow, it pulled back. Let's see what it looks like on the 1 minute. Yep, I don't have my duplication going on here, that's why. Sync that. Sync that. Sync that. Back to our 1 minute chart and see what we have here. If it can break through here, we got the crossover, we got the here. If it breaks to the top of this, I'd be looking at possibly retesting this 30-minute 62. Euros is getting stronger. Or just coming up on our 9 o'clock hour. And we are showing some dollar strength still on the euro, on the US yen. Not a lot, but it's hanging in there. And so we have a wick, wicks, wicks, wicks. So right here, this is going to be an area where I'd like to see it. If it breaks the top, this may be our first area where we maybe have a little bit of a bounce from. Let's see what other things look like here. I'd be real careful taking this thing long. That's 6 pips to here. This could be a head fake. I'll keep my powder dry on this one. Although it does have some, this is showing an extreme here. I would say if we can get a close. I'd like to see this thing pull back a little bit. If this thing can stay up around this, if the 8 can stay up around into the 75 area, the 3 minute can come on down, pull back, and then close above it, then we might have a trade here. But right now, this looks like a head fake to me. I'll extend this thing down a little bit further here. I do like the cross here. We have the cross, we have the close above the 62. Now, if this green moving average can come down and not cross and close below the yellow 13, then we might have something. I'd like to see it close inside the center to close area. Strong move up, three candles, all higher highs, higher lows, but now it's starting to come back and retest the bottom of this area right in here. And it looks like the dollar is starting to get weak. On the yen, still showing some euro strength, but not a whole lot. Let's see what it looks like on the other time frames. There's a euro strong by 1. Here's a euro still weak on the 15-minute.
Hey, I'm back.
All right. Well,
Hey,
looks like the U.S. yen is not, or the U.S. yen is seeming like it's wanting to go on the other direction. We're on the euro U.S. We had an alert for that at 8:45. Looks like it wants to try and break to the upside, but it doesn't have the strength that I'd like to see. I think this is right now it's somewhat range bound here. It came up, it gave us a little head fake outside the wedge. This would have been the target, which was only about 5 pips. It's pulling back in, seeing what's happening with these moving averages. Right now, the moving average is on the higher time frames. We have a 30-minute way up here, 15. So right now, it's still respecting the 15 and the 5-period moving averages. So it still looks like it has more room to the downside as these are right now. We have the green, yellow, purple for the downside, green, yellow, orange. So it's got strength to the downside there. And right now, this thing's flipping back and forth between the 1 minute being stronger, being weak. Now, if this thing can come up and close and give us, if it can close above this 15 moving average, then we could be looking on at this area. And I'm going to mark that. The 1562. That'd be, if it can break the 562, it's looking for the 1562 as the next target. If we can get it closed inside this area, if we can get it closed above, see, this one might go. This one might go. It's a risky trade, but it's still a possibility. Euro US, strong strength. It's got some little strength to the upside. This was a pullback. I can take a swing at this one. $81 to, see, 19 to 13. You're barely going to get your 7 pips out of that. I didn't get in time.
That's quite the candle.
Yeah, we are showing some dollar weakness right now.
Well, it's right before market, right? The 9 o'clock hour.
Yeah, it's right before the 9 o'clock hour. This is the 9 o'clock push. And we are looking at the, right now with the dollar is the weakest on, well, it's a 4-point spread. So the euro just got real strong in this last candle or so. So right now we'd be trading to the strength of the euro. See if this thing pulls back.
Al?
Yes.
Now, if it pulls back a little bit more, would you do a buy stop or no?
I might actually, if it comes back into this zone right here and comes back out, I might just take it on a market order.
On a market.
This thing can come back into this ender on the close. I mean, we got this was the candle to enter one right here. This one.
Yes.
Now it's retesting that. If I do a buy stop, you're really limiting your target. If your target is going to be the 1562, which it could very well be, that's 5 pips. I'd rather see it try and get in maybe a little bit on this pullback and just take a shot at it. This was a strong candle. If this candle, right now you have a strong engulfing candle. Now, if this thing turns blue, if this candle turns blue, I might do a buy stop down here at 1810. Buy stop at just above 18. I'll call it 1811 here. Boom.
Your alert is a GBP USD.
Yeah. Okay. Another one.
Yeah, it just came up at 9.
Okay. We'll see what happens with this one right now. Right now, the euro is still showing some strength here on right at this 9 o'clock hour. Euro still showing strength by 3. It's a nice little pullback. We are in this trade to go long. And the target with this would be, we'll look for 7 pips. Seven pips targets, 10 pip stop. See if we come up here and retest the 62. This is a little bit of a contra trend trade. The fact that we're still below the 62s, but it is showing some strength to the upside. This could be the ultimate target, the 30. And on this one, if we get a close below the 1 minute 62 with the crossover of the green and the yellow, then I'll get out of this trade. I'm going to keep it down here a little bit out of harm's way just to give me a little bit more room. But this will be the stop zone down up in here. That's going to be my visual stop.
They come in and get you, Al?
Yeah.
Now they're coming to get me.
They're coming to take me away.
Now they're coming to get me.
I was the one driving, so all I hear is that. I'm like, yeah, let's take a quick look and what's
Pull over?
going around. Yeah, not me.
Joys of living in the city.
This Euro US is looking pretty good right now. If it comes up and tags the 1562, I may look for strong rejection off of that, see if there's a trend, moving average line. Yeah, we got a supply line right there. And we'll see if this thing can punch up there to retest that fib line, and then we'll get my target. Move my target down just a little bit here. Euro still showing some strength. The euro is showing stronger than the yen, so there is some. You could get that other U.S. yen trade if you're still in that. That still has some. Might have some.
Look at that cross out
punch to the upside
for 513 on the one, eh?
Yeah.
Cross, and then we had the separation, and then we got a wedge forming at the top.
Yeah, well, this was the target zone. That yellow line was the high that we wanted to see it close above, which it did on this strong candle. Has strong pullback. So this is looking pretty good for a target still up in here. And see, looking at our fib retracement tool. I'm down here at the C. I'm back up here where the top was, where we had our breakout. And target zone would be right up in here, the 1 to 78, which is right about where my target is, right about in the middle of that area. That's only 4 pips, but that's it may have a little struggle getting there. Move this out of the way. Still looking at for a target zone. Looks like the S&P may want to go up a little bit today, a little bit initially, and then it may just give it up at the open.
Okay, it's really gone up in the last couple minutes.
Went crazy yesterday with the vaccine news.
Although with the dollar weakness, it could, yeah, with dollar weakness, the S&P is, I would expect it to go up.
I find it's been contrary the last few days. The dollar shows is weak and it still goes down. I don't know what's
Oh,
wrong with it.
it's just all over the place.
It is.
Well, when they've increased the margins on the futures, getting rid of the 25% margin rate during the daytime, that's got to be telling you something, that they're expecting something, that they don't want people to be margins out to the hill. Usually it's 25% margin during the opening from the 9:30 till the close.
Mhm.
But they've removed all those 25% margin levels to where it's full margin.
So that's probably gonna reset itself after the election and stuff. Is it?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure. I think it will
Whenever
reset. I think it
after
will
all this
reset.
stuff goes down.
I think they're expecting a lot of volatility, which is one reason why they put it that way. Either that, or they're expecting when it was when the markets were going up, it was the margin was that like $1,750 per contract, and now with the market being at all-time highs, they've increased the margin rate. So it makes me suspicious whether or not they're expecting this thing to tank. I don't know if there's any validity to that, but that's a thought that I've had in my mind on this.
Look at that move, though. Huh?
They're expecting the S&P to tank. Is that what you're talking about?
I think if Biden takes the helm, I think you're going to see the S&P have some major struggles at the upper levels.
So the dollar's going to gain strength again then.
I can't say that either. If we start printing money like crazy, and they don't with the quantitative easing that they generally tend to do, I don't see the dollar getting stronger. But what do I know?
You know a fair bit.
They don't pay you the big bucks, Al?
Yeah, I don't get the big bucks for my information.
Oh, I thought you were with Larry Kudlow.
This thing it came right up in the middle of this box right here. Came right up to it hasn't even come up to the fib line, and it's got rejected here. So be careful with this one. The yen is still showing weakness. Right now, between the euro, the yen, and the dollar, the euro seems to be the strongest. Let's see where we're at here. The euro, we have a 4. The yen, we have a 3. And the US, we have a 2. So
It almost sounded like the beginning of a joke, Al.
yeah.
The euro, the yen, and the dollar.
Yeah. What did the euro say to the dollar? What did the euro and the dollar have in common? They were both lost in their direction. And it's coming up here. It's going to see if it tags my take profit. I still like to see a tag on this 1562. One more push.
That sounded like delivery room talk. One more push.
Yeah. I thought as soon as I said that, I thought about that.
This is the comedy hour.
It seems to be.
Yeah.
We're still 15 minutes from the market open.
What do you think, Dal? Shall we take a short break while we're...
Yeah, let's do that. Let's take a short break and come back with another. Let's see what this. Wait one more minute. See if this alert comes out and at 9:15, and then we'll come back and 9:30 for the open.
Well, not that
Yes.
I'm contrary to breaks, but there's a GBP USD that came out that we
Just
haven't
now?
looked at.
Oh,
No,
my.
it came out before.
Oh, that's right. We never did get to that one, did we?
No, but I'm not.
That was at
Yes,
9 o'clock.
I just
Yeah, we were sitting there watching this one.
Yeah.
Let me take a look at that real quick. GDP USD.
Just in case it's nothing that
Yeah, maybe something
take right now.
we may need to pay attention to it. Let's see, where's my... I get my charts got all whacked out here. Let's see, GBP USD.
Alan Moore. There you go.
And that was a descending wedge at 9 o'clock. Descending at 9. That's this little move right down here. We had a nice move up, nice move down. I see this thing's probably looking to want to go to the upside. British pound is strong. Flat bottom the top here. And we're looking at the break of, now we see a break above the C area. We have this nice little flag up. Here's a pull, here's the pullback. I'd be looking for a target on this one. If it breaks the upside, there's a target there, which would be right around this area. I'll mark that and see how many different confirmations we have around this area. Move it down about halfway. Move this out of the way. And we have our stick, which we're going to be looking at pretty much this area. I'll put it in from here to the bottom of this. Here's the break. See what it looks like on our 1 minute chart. And we're looking for British, to the upside, we're looking for British pound strength. We have dollar strength right now, so this is a pullback. British is strong by 2, strong by 3. Yeah, that's about all we have right now. It's somewhat range bound. Let's see at the higher time frame. Let's see what a 3-hour chart looks like here. See if there's where our target could be on the upside. Looks like we're already pretty much. I go all the way back to September before we find any area of. Let's see here, we have a trend line from this pivot high that was yesterday to right now. Put a trend line in there. Right now, is that pretty much of a high from fairly far back? Yeah, it's coming. It's kind of right into that area where I just drew those lines. So this is a little bit of a breach. I think this is going to be more apt to go to the downside. I'm going to stay away from this one. Let's take a break. Be back in about 10 minutes. Everybody then. I'm going to pause the recording. Zoom recording. Here we go. We're back in business again. Market is now open. U.S. market is now open. Strong move on the euro-U.S. dollar, U.S. euro, the euro-U.S. Pair. And it looks like the U.S. yen is starting to regain some of its pullback. So let's see. Let's take a look at that the U.S. yen here. It did challenge this little pivot right here. It came back down, closed below it, but it pulled right back up. So that we had a little bit of a, so this one's no longer valid. This one here, we have a readjustment of this one. Here is where the alert was. Pulled back, went up higher, pulled back, retested this area. This is an anchor. Here's the hit. Here is the bottom of the wedge on the bottom over here. And we'll see it did break through this little area. This was a target area that we, or a zone we had. To get rid of that. This little wick over wick still is in play. Right now, this range bound, we have a high, a low, a lower high, a higher low. Right now, this is still kind of trending in a range. Take this off. This is the range it's playing in right now. Nothing real conclusive. Let's see if I have any more alerts. Last one was British US at 9 o'clock. So we'll see what this thing does.
That could be a nice bounce off the top there, Al.
Well, it was a nice bounce off the top. It took a little bit of heat coming back down, but now we'll see what it does. Right now, we're still making lower highs and higher lows. The new wedges now formed. Neither one of these are confirmed, and we'll see what happens. Right now, I'm still looking for it to test the top of this where the D was, where we had the original alert.
Yeah, you might look for a nice bounce there in the next minute or so.
This is the upper 25% of the box. And right now I'm out of all the trades. Now we did get a little harmonic pattern here. Let's see what this one on the British, on the Euro US. And we have a 15-minute, 30-minute harmonic pattern. Let me go ahead and draw that out and see what, let me give you a chance to draw this one out. Euro US. Go to the, close that out here. So we're 30-minute, we'll go to a 30-minute chart. I'm just going to take everything off of this. See what the harmonics have to say here. Or does not exist. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think it did either. Let's see, we have a 30-minute chart. And it's showing a peak at 3:30, which is probably right about, is it Euro US? Yeah, it is. 3:30. Oh, here we go. 3:30. Just looking at this peak right here. So we have the harmonic, which goes from here to here. Once we can retest the B there, come back to the C, and the D is going to be up somewhere around in the 1833. Here's my settings here. That's pretty much already up there, pretty close. We missed the C area. Looks like it hit the entry to go short. Okay. And it had a short target of 1812, which is already there. Past that one. Next target to the south short side would be 1800. And I don't know why that won't let me get rid of that, because there's no trade on. Go figure.
Just like my crazy computer glitches this morning.
This harmonic is pretty much already, you don't want to take anything. Right now I'd be looking at possibly a retest of the C area. Came up to test the 30-minute 62. That's a very significant bounce off of that. Bounced off of it there. Bounce coming up around this area, retesting it. And I can see this thing going lower.
Right.
We do have a little bit of a trend going up from the A to the C. We'll tweak these points a little bit. So I'm going to look at this trend line between the A and the C as the trend line. And we have a little anchor. Here's a hit. Strong move up, retesting the 30-minute. That was a strong rejection. Strong move up, strong rejection. Right now, I'm not seeing anything real conclusive here. Let's see if the British US has anything to tell us. This is right around the area way back in September where these two yellow lines were generated from. It did break it, came back up, went right back into this area. So there's some battle going on in between these yellow lines. You can see where there's a lot of candles inside, just a few candles on the outside of it rejecting it. So this is a pretty strong area. I believe it was an ascending wedge before the alert.
It was descending out at 9.
Was descending? Okay,
Yes.
thanks.
You're welcome.
Descending wedge. So yeah, we have the A, the C. Get rid of that, get rid of this. And sometimes you just need to just stay out of this stuff. Nice little trend coming down. I'll flat bottom the BD area. Here we got, if it comes back down, we're going to be looking for a bounce off of the 15-minute 62. Come over here, check the 5-minute. This looks like it's about bouncing off of that right now as we speak. It actually bounced off it, found some buyers right in this area, drove it back up. Let's see if it has enough strength to break out of this little zone to come on up and retest the upper wedge. And if it does break out of the top to the blue, we've got 26 pips. That's a significant amount of movement to that side. And we wait. Any questions, any comments? Anybody have anything they'd like to take a look at that we're not looking at today? Put it in the question answer box or raise your hand. I'll turn your microphone on. Quiet group.
I was talking to Ruben.
Oh, how's he doing?
He's doing well. He has a full-time job though now.
Oh, that's why we haven't seen him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I reached out to him to find out if he was okay, where he is, what's going on. So
It's funny, I was thinking about him yesterday, then all of a sudden you spoke to him.
what's that?
I was thinking about him yesterday, like, we haven't seen him in the room in a while, and I was hoping that he was okay. And then all of a sudden this morning you mentioned that you had spoken to him. That's all. It's just a coincidence. That's all.
Yeah, right now I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to be looking at anything with this British pound until it breaks out of this this yellow zone here. If it breaks out of that, then I think we might have something up to the trend line. I'm seeing some British strength here. Nothing to write home about. We only have a 1 point spread here, 1 point spread here, 2 point spread favoring the dollar, which would be to the short side on all three of these. If we get the cross of the 5 and 62 on this 1 minute, 5 and 13, could get us a little bit of room to the downside on this, to the bottom of this wedge where the D is. And there's probably enough room for a trade on this if it breaks the bottom here. That's 16 pips. You could probably get your 7 pips to down to the. This will move up. It's coming out of this zone right here where we had that all that activity right in through here. If it can break through the bottom, we might have a little something here. I'd be looking for strength to the. I'd rather see strength to the dollar. I'm not really seeing that right now. So again, I think we want to just stay away from this. And there's an alert on the U.S. yen. Let's take a look and see where that was generated. Coming up to the top here. Broke out the top of this wedge. This is our wick over wick that we had on the downside. Came back up, retested this area. And see if we get a break. And we could go to retest this area up here. So right now we're at 40 to 48. There's only 7 pips. That's not enough for me to want to take this. It could go up a lot higher. It could go all the way up to the, this is the top of the wedge right in here where the original wedge alert came in. It actually is looking fairly promising to the upside right now. This may be one to take a buy stop above this red candle. I say buy stop right around, buy stop of 105.41. Retesting the wedge, retesting this breakout. Here's the anchor, here's the hit, here's the penetration of the hit. So this thing is, it was hit, came back down, tested it, now it's passing, now it's checking this area right here. If it can break to the upside, I'll use my stop up here, I'll use my target. Probably the top of the wedge. And that's only going to be, that'd be 9 pips profit, 7 pip stop, if I get filled. Now the test is going to be as if on this, on the 1 minute, if we have the moving average crossovers or not. This is going to tell a big story right here. If the green crosses, if the green can get back over on top of the yellow before this candle closes, we'll be good. I'm looking at this blue candle right now. I'm not seeing a close below this region. Here's a rally, base, rally, came back up, retested this area. I'm looking at this candle right here. See if it can close below this one. And you can see it hasn't closed below this one either. So this could be a nice little supply area or demand area. This is a very low time frame area that we're looking at here. Just looking at the price action, how it comes into this area. We have the cross right now. You want to be taken along in this case. And it could be coming on down to retest all the way down here. These are the trades you just sort of stay away from until you get more confirmation on it. I think we'll go to about 10 o'clock today, and unless something real exciting happens, we'll just close this up at 10 o'clock today.
Okie dokie.
It seems to be, right now the markets seem to be somewhat range bound. We are getting a bounce off of this 62. Let's check and see where the other moving averages are. We have the 5 minutes all the way down here, so it could retest this. If we get the cross, it could come down and retest the 62 right here. And then we have the 1562 over here, which is pretty much right where this original wedge was drawn. This is a nice, strong little rally. You can see where the green line stayed above the yellow. Everything was respected. Now here's the pullback. And now if we can get this thing to cross again to the upside, we may have a little bit of a trade here. See what kind of pullback we get. That's right about a 40% pullback. And I think I'm gonna move my entry into this blue line. This thing comes up and breaks the wedge. This would be the pullback, and then we could be looking at a nice little target area up in this area. I'll modify that. I'll put the stop down below where the demand area is. Actually, I like to stop down a little bit lower than that. I like keeping the stop below this range right in here. And then my target would be on up to the 78 to 1 area, and put it right about in the middle of that, which is right pretty much at the top of the original wedge. And see what kind of strength we have. The yen is stronger, not by a lot. Higher time frame, not so much. And there's a good chance I won't get filled on that. And then that's okay. I see a lot of these pairs seem to just be hanging out inside of a range with no place to go right now. Dollar is starting to get stronger with the yen. We got a spread by 1, by 2, by 2. Came back into pull back into this region. Now it's starting to pull back out of it. And we get the moving average crossovers. We'd be looking to possibly get into the trade and then looking to get to maybe our target. And we're looking for dollar strength overall. And we now just entered that trade. This is an aggressive entry. I still like to see it come up and retest this 25% range of the box. Let's just go for a 7 pips on this one. And if we can't get our 7 pips before these moving averages cross again, it's time to get out of this trade. Pull the scene up to the bottom of the trend box, 5 pip stop. Should be able to get a close. If this thing's going to work, it should get a close above this area right in here. And we got the close above the yellow line coming up and retesting. We're getting very close to our target and just about there. Needed the spread to get closing me out. And this candle closes bearish, which it looks like it's going to. Now close out this trade. That's a big rejection off of that price right up there. And with that, I think we're going to call this today. Any other questions before we go? Raise your hand. I'll turn your mic on. Type something in the box. If not, we will see everybody tomorrow. Thanks for coming in, and we'll have a good rest of the day. Stay green, and we'll talk to you later.
Have a good day, everybody. God bless.
Have a good day, everyone. Oh, someone's in the. Oh, Janine just said goodbye. I thought she had a question.